Are you ready? We're going to talk about the boogeyman, Alex Jones.
Let's go to Nicholas in Tampa, Florida. You're on the air, Nicholas.
Hey, Alex, thank you so much for taking my call, man. You guys actually inspired me to start my own independent news site.
Good. Tell us about it.
Well, it's actually realnsc.com, and I always link back to you guys.
Thank you.
Anytime you guys do videos.
That's realnsc.com?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning back into TNBS. I am your host of the Nicolas Bowling Show, Nicolas Bowling, editor-in-chief of realnsc.com since 2016, the conservative independent news site, and we are keeping journalism alive. Before I get started, go down below, go to the subscribe star, and sign up for subscribe star so you help keep journalism alive, independent journalism. You want this show to keep going, you want Real NSC to keep going, all these stories, and believe me, I got something about to break next week that is it's going to blow your mind. Trust me on that. I'm so excited. This is my work. This is probably one of my biggest journalism adventures ever, and it does pertain to this case. So I may or may not be breaking something wide open here. So, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Also, while you're here, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, share this, comment. All this stuff needs to go out because this is First Amendment. This is First Amendment. This is First Amendment, and we have to take care of it, or else we're going to lose all the others. All right, for those of you who do not know, Alex Jones is my uncle, and he was actually on trial for his life. He was on trial for defamation, which to me isn't even a real thing. First Amendment, defamation, there's a real gray area there. It is possible, but it's very rare. And he was on trial for defamation for the Sandy Hook shooting. Oh, wasn't that the shooting that just happened a couple months? No. Oh, that's the one that happened like a year ago, right? No, this one happened, over 10 years ago? They're just now talking about this? Yeah, it happened in 2012, the school shooting. Adam Lanza was the guy, came in with his big bad rifle, big scary rifle, and unfortunately shot 26 people and killed them. Very tragic situation, very, very sad, and my heart goes out to all those people that lost loved ones on that day. So, if you are completely new, you have no idea who Alex Jones is, he is my uncle, and he runs a site called Infowars. He's the founder of Infowars from like 30 years ago on, cable access. And his whole gimmick, I hate to call it gimmick because it's more than that, but his whole thing is exposing elites, globalists, their agenda and what they're planning, and very pro-America, populist. He's kind of a conservative, but he leans more libertarian, which means hands-off government. But he's been doing a show basically every weekday and also Sunday show for the past 30 years, I think it is. Don't fact check me on that. But he's on the air just astronomical amounts of time. And not only that, but now he's built up Infowars so much that not only did he have the president on, President Trump, he's had a lot of great patriots on and great interviews, but he has over 1 billion clicks and just millions and millions of people a month, every day even. Despite what you may have heard from CNN and MSNBC, he's actually very reputable. A lot of the things that he says are factual. If you actually look them up, because here's the problem with people listening to Alex Jones, the critics. Here's the problem they face. They see his claim of gay frogs. I'll just use gay frogs for example, which I did a story for Staircase Stories. Link below if you want to check that out. My other podcasts I do. The gay frog story is actually 100% true. It is unbelievable, but it is so true. They're putting a chemical pesticide in with male frogs, healthy male frogs, and they are having sex after time exposed to this chemical atrazine, which is a weed controller that a lot of farmers use, industry farmers use all across the U.S. Then it gets into the water, into the food, gets sprayed directly on the food, and then the runoff. The male frog actually develops not only gay sort homophobic, I guess I should say, tendencies, having sex with other males, and also he actually produces eggs and can have babies, which is unreal. And that's all because of this pesticide that they are exposing them to. But the problem is when that rant, I don't like him putting chemicals in the water that turn the freaking frogs gay. You know, people make memes of it and remixes, and you know, Alex he jokes around about that a lot. And it's funny stuff. He even play him live on air. But the problem is, and it's kind of an Alex Jones problem too, is that he does it very theatrically, you know, because that's how he gets the views and the ratings. But he's actually talking about factual stuff here, you know, and it's really funny because, you know, this like CNN or, you know, Washington Post or whatever, they'll run with a story like, Alex Jones says they're putting chemicals in the water that turn frogs gay. And they do it in a way that they really try to make it seem like he's a fucking joke. Like, this, look at this idiot saying this. But then there's like half of those people reading that actually think, this is too crazy. This isn't real. Let me Google this stuff. Oh, here it is. A California Berkeley study saying just that. You know, so it most of the time it backfires on them. And I think this whole trial is going to backfire on them too. And we're kind of already seeing that. Because the amount of number I have no inside source. My uncle doesn't tell me these things, but the amount of money he's taken in right now since the trial verdict, I can guarantee you is just astronomical, especially compared to what he usually makes. He's making some dough. And here's the thing too, I got my real NSE shirt on, but I am going to be buying Alex's new book, The Great War, The Great Reset War, or something like that. And then also a shirt as well, as soon as I get my funding right. All right, so that's enough of the lead up. Let's get down to the actual trial itself. So the shooting actually happened in 2012, like I said. Adam Lanza, a psychotic guy, probably on, you know, all these pills, whatever, ran in and shot the kids, shot teachers and staff, killed 26 of them, tragically. And Alex Jones, he was asking questions. And folks, at the end of the day, he is a reporter. That's what he does. There's a difference. People don't realize there's a difference between a reporter and a journalist. A journalist goes out and finds stories, right? They go interview people on the street. They find things and make a story. Reporters already take a made story and give it to the world. That's basically what Alex does. Although he has done journalism in the past, obviously, and he still does it today. So he had some guy on, Wolfgang, whatever the fuck his name is. He wrote a book, No Kids Died, to Sandy Hook. He had him on because Alex was like, what is going on here? I don't understand. What? Because like there is videos of them walking around in circles, which is kind of weird. Then there's also video of one of the fathers in the back. Like, he doesn't realize the camera's on for CNN, and he's like, oh, yeah, boo. And then he's like, all right, we're live. Oh, my son. And that's just really very odd behavior. So he was questioning that. And he had this guy on, and, you know, and that actually came up in the trial. Like, you had this guy on that was absolutely crazy. Did you not realize he was crazy? Okay, what they don't realize is, one, it's a show. So crazy equals good in shows, right? The crazier the allegation, the more views. I mean, we all know that in YouTube land. And two, it's a show. So you have differing point of views. One's right, one's wrong, and you meet somewhere in the middle or whatever. You know, that's what a show is, a political show. You know, we don't have that nowadays, but back then, you know, and now on Infowars too, they let on both sides if they're willing to come on, and I'm the same way. You know, I'm going to be doing a live stream here soon on both sides, you know, welcoming liberals in. So here's the interesting thing. This particular defamation case is over. They awarded the plaintiff, the one family, about $50 million. First stage was 4.1, and then the last stage was the rest, like 40 whatever point whatever to equal 50. And here's the interesting thing about this. And Alex Jones talked about this earlier today on August 8th on his show. He said that there's already 3 more that are in the process, families suing. And we knew this was going to happen. But here's my take on this. There is 20 kids that died and 6 staffers. So that means each of those kids and staffers have family, right? So obviously -1 for the family that just sued. I don't know if they've already filed these other 3 or not, but we can knock that down to 16. 16 kids left. And then the staffers, they may or may not sue. So that's 22 families right now that can still sue Alex Jones. That is horrifying. Now, I hope the 22 families that are left don't sue, obviously, because the problem is, man, not even on Alex Jones' side, this money that they're getting is not going to fill their heart, the opening within their soul and heart that lost their kids. That's not going to happen. I know it's an easy buck, or a few million bucks, and they deserve it. But I personally don't think they deserve it from Alex. I think anytime a mass shooting happens, I think that the government should do a small payout to the family of $100,000. That's just my personal opinion. I've had that opinion for a while. Going after gun companies and defamation. I mean, what? I mean, the state should pay out just to try to help them. But these not all families and staffers are going to sue, obviously, I would imagine. Now, it's possible, mainstream media gets in their ear. Now, there's 3 more that have already started the motion of suing Alex for defamation under these same sort of statutes here that applied originally. Now, Alex mentioned in his show that they're going to use the same judge. Now, I don't know if that's possible. I don't know how that's possible. I'm not sure. But that kind of answers the other question I had, because Texas has a cap on their defamation penalties, their payouts, which is $750,000 per defendant. So there's 2 defendants in here on each level. On the one level of 4.1, and then the rest of the 40 whatever million. So that's 4 times. 4 times the $750,000. That's the max payout for this particular case here. I forgot exactly what that is. It's late. I'm not going to pull out the calculator. You can do that. But that's the max. So my question was, and somebody actually commented on one of my TikToks saying, well, they're going to open it in, wherever the fuck, Colorado, I think it was in. And there's no cap there, which I don't know if there is or isn't. I haven't confirmed that. But if 3 people have already filed, started the motion, and I don't know if they filed yet. We'd know that, but they're starting the motion and whatnot, and they're getting the same judge who's a Texas judge. That means this is going to be in Texas as well, maybe all of them, which is good news for Alex, because that cap does apply. Obviously, that's going to be huge in these cases going forward. And I find it very funny that neither the lawyers or the media or even the judge, well, I'm not so surprised on her. She's an SJW, but self-admitted SJW with blue hair and all that shit. But anyway, it's surprising that she didn't mention that. And keep in mind, there's a cap here in the state of $750,000. Just keep that in mind, or at least saying that after the final verdict, so people know that. But again, it's like Robert Barnes said on the show yesterday that they didn't say that on purpose, because now they can roll with he has to pay $50 million, because the average person doesn't know there's a cap, and he doesn't have to pay all of that. So they're getting their fake news headline, just like Barnes said. And probably the most interesting thing about this trial I found is that Alex Jones, because he owns Free Speech Enterprises, or Free Speech something, Free Speech Services? I forget what it is, but it's actually the LLC of Infowars, who, of course, he owns. So the shit rolls downhill to him no matter what. But this whole trial wasn't even based off of what Alex said. That was all salted and peppered in there of what Alex said, but this was actually based off of what Owen Schroyer said, his staffer. He's also a host on there. He fills in for Alex every once in a while. He also has his own show, The War Room. But he was actually filling in one day, I believe a Sunday show, and actually talked about the actual person in this case, the family in particular. And again, I didn't see anything liable about that. It was mainly about Megyn Kelly's story. And that's what they used to actually find Jones guilty. Not even something he said. It's amazing. Now, why did they do that? They did that because Owen Schroyer is this big compared to Alex Jones, who's a giant. No disrespect to Owen. You know, I respect Owen a lot. You know, I kind of see myself in him a little bit. But they're not going to go after Owen Schroyer. They're going to go after Alex Jones, the big dog, the demon, the devil. Now, some of you may know, Alex's attorney messed up and gave his whole phone to the other side, the plaintiff. So that was a big mix-up, but it was a little confusing because the plaintiff's attorney said, you lied to me and said that you turned everything over, but your lawyer accidentally sent me everything. But it's like, Alex was like, but I gave the lawyer my phone to give to you. So I didn't lie about anything. So basically what happened is Alex was like, okay, let me search this term. There's just so much in his phone. I'm sure. Here, just deal with it. Just you take it, you deal with it, whatever. And then his lawyer fucked up big time and sent like a link of everything over to him of his whole phone, unpertinent information, classified shit, and didn't go through the proper channels of actually deeming it confidential. There's a certain way, I'm no lawyer, but if you didn't guess already, but there's a certain way, if you get material that is confidential and you do it on accident or whatever, then you can easily say, go through the processes, you know, making this confidential, so they have to return and give it back, and then that's that. They can't use it in court, nothing. But he didn't do that. He only said, hey, disregard that. Now, here's the thing. So, I don't think Alex Jones was lying there. I don't think he's going to get tried for perjury, like he was saying, like the guy was saying. But I think maybe the lawyer did that. There's a couple things that the lawyer messed up on here. And the other side actually called him out and said he's actively trying to mess up this trial and get a mistrial and appeal. And that might be the case. I'm not really too sure about that. I would love to talk to a lawyer on that on the show, but I don't really know any lawyers. But I mean, I know there's sanctions by the judge he can put on lawyers, but maybe he was trying to fuck this up. So that he could actually do an appeal or mistrial or something like that. And at one point, he did ask for a mistrial about his own fuck up. Now, I wonder what's going to happen with him, Alex's lawyer. I was not impressed with him. I wish Robert Barnes was on there, but I guess they separated for whatever reason. I'm not really too sure. But this guy was really not good. I was not impressed with him, except for his closing statements was decent, but beyond that, it wasn't very good. And I mentioned the part about his full phone, Alex's full phone getting transferred over to the other side. Now, in the trial, of course, he was grandstanding like, oh, I'm not going to stand in the way of the officials in the Senate January 6th hearing. I'm going to give it to them if I have to. I'm going to be a good man, blah, blah, blah. So there's rumors that they already turned it over to January 6th committee and all that. But Alex is like, these texts were from 2019. This is like an older phone. I mean, there's nothing on there about January 6th. I mean, and even if there was, like, he's a citizen. What are you going to do? Even if he said, oh, we're going to get people at the Capitol. Let's all meet up. Which is... No, that didn't happen. But even if he did, so what? He wasn't in the Capitol. What the hell are you going to do? Plus, Alex would never advocate violence or breaking into things. That is not his MO. Now, in the closing statements, the absolute closing statements after the first verdict, so this is the second final verdict, the closing statements, the attorney, I'm forgetting his name, I'll put him on screen, and I'll even play a clip here, but he said, This whole thing is not about the families. This whole thing is about Alex Jones being silenced, his Infowars platform taken away.
I want to take you back to something I said the first time we talked today. And that is, I believe that Alex Jones will not change, that Alex Jones will not be taught a lesson. Alex Jones does not care. He's not going to stop. They won't stop unless you stop him. Take an amount from him that punishes him, and then take another amount that ensures that he never does this again. And I would like to start making it not a thing. And that is you. You have that ability. You have the ability to tell everyone, stop. Please, please stop. Choose love over the fear and hate that the man peddles.
He basically said, I want him gone, silenced. I want to destroy him. I want his voice taken away, and I want it so that he cannot rebuild. That is what I want you to do, talking to the jury. That is so telling. It is shocking. It is shockingly telling, because this is exactly what Alex Jones has been telling you for years. Everyone thought he was fear-mongering, but no, he's actually right. You know, when he says, oh, we're the tip of the spear at Infowars, it's really the truth. He's so attacked, so violated, and it's just disgusting. Now, one thing I'm going to be keeping an eye on is the lawyers for the plaintiffs, because if they, I don't know if we're going to be able to tell this or not, but we need to, as a people, order them to show their finances that they did not take any money from this ruling. When the money starts flowing in, which with the bankruptcy, that's all on hold. But once the money comes flowing in, we need to know that that legal team took this on pro bono, because this isn't about money, right? As they say it in there, it's about Big Bag Alex Jones getting deplatformed and silenced, and the poor families. That's what this is about, because the poor families, this caused them so much pain and distress. So you shouldn't be taking a dime of it, right? A couple more things I want to talk about, and then I'll get into some more opinion-based stuff. The testimony, this is very interesting, and I didn't catch it watching it, but until after. So they brought up a guy, and I'm not good with names, but I'll put a picture of him up here. They brought in a guy that was supposedly an expert in net worth. He worked for the Koch brothers, figuring out their wealth. It's just so stupid, but how does a guy who's never met Alex, never talked to Alex, never been in the studios, never looked at his finances, never even been out to eat with him, how does he know this guy's finances, how much he's worth? Even if it's a car, okay, he has, I can go to his house, from the outside looking in, public sidewalk. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. It's a Mustang, that's a Bentley, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so those cars are worth da-da-da-da-da-da. Why do you know that? What if there's no engines in those cars? I mean, seriously. I mean, this is a logical question. If that's the way he's doing it, he has this many cars, and they're worth this much, and that means this is his net worth. What if those cars don't run well? What if those cars have scratches on them? What if they're dents? I mean, you don't know the net worth of something until you actually get in there and take forensic analysis of the finances. That guy didn't do that. So the whole thing was a joke. He said his net worth was like $250 million or something like that, but there's a couple things I want to point out here. So all of that testimony, and all his notes and his findings and all that was not put into evidence. And yet the judge let that go on, which to me, again, I'm not a lawyer, but that sounds like hearsay and opinion. So and Alex says that he was barred from testifying about his finances. He wasn't even able to say that there was bankrupt. Not able to say bankruptcy, not able to say innocent, not able to say I didn't do this. What kind of court is this, man? So looks like they are going to appeal. I don't know how that works in civil court. I'm really not sure. That'll be interesting to see. Also, if it's the same judge, that'll be interesting to see. And one thing to note here, and this is kind of a little off topic, but not really. I looked up the judge, Judge Gamble, and she's in Texas, 459th or some shit district. And I'm going to get into the big story I'm going to break here shortly. She has a D next to her name, a Democrat. And I'm like, wait, that's interesting. What? And then I started to realize that judges are partisan. I'm not just saying that like, oh, they're partisan in their opinion. No, they're literally partisan. They have a D or an R or an L next to the name. And I started wondering, like, why? Why is that even a thing? That's the dumbest shit ever. Judges should not be party affiliated. If they have an affiliation for voting, that's one thing. But they should not be able to register and run as a Democrat or Republican. That is completely asinine. I was shocked when I realized that. Like, I've seen that before, but it never clicked. So we're supposed to have completely, the blind justice. Lady Justice is blind. But how can they do that when when they're loyal to one party over the other? I don't understand that. Fun fact, before we wrap up here, the amount of time that Infowars spent on Sandy Hook throughout the years, I think it was 2012 to 2018. I wrote an article on this. I'll put it on screen. Was 0.16%. So the whole trial was more time spent on Sandy Hook than Alex Jones and Infowars did on the show, which is just insane. So $50 million for 18 hours and some odd change coverage? Really? Before I get into this, what I'm working on, and when you hear it, I hope you understand how important it is. But before we do that, please smash this thumbs up. If you got this far in the video, I appreciate it. Smash the thumbs up wherever you're watching this. Hit the follow or subscribe or whatever, however you're watching this. We're on BitChute, Getter, Rumble, all these social networks is down below, or go to thenbshow.com for all the links. I appreciate it, guys. Now let's get into this last little bit. I took it upon myself. Now hear me out. This may not sound big, but in the whole of it, I guarantee you, give me a couple weeks and it's going to be huge, but I wanted to break it here since we're talking about it. I filed a PRR, Public Records Request. Also could be known as a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, with the Texas court where Alex Jones was tried. What did I ask for? The names of all of the jurors. Now, what am I going to do with that information? I'm not going to harm them, threaten them, none of that. I probably won't even release the names, to be honest with you. But it's all public information. I might. But I'm going to use that to scan their web history, their social media history, any articles that they've written, any comments they've left, any Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts, MySpace accounts, to see if they were in fact bipartisan, as they said they were. Remember, they said they never heard of Alex Jones. I'm going to search and find what I can find, dig up any dirt that there is on them. Now, that is not to threaten them. That is not to smear them. That is to ensure that my Uncle Alex got a fair trial. And that is, of course, ensuring our justice is just. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in again. Smash the like, smash the sub, drop a comment on what I said if you thought I was wrong or right. And also, always remember, God bless and stay safe.